everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com, and what am I doing here on a Wednesday? Well, I'm presenting a very special edition of AEW Dynamite Graded because last night we saw a special 1-hour edition of Late Night Dynamite. But what was the point of Late Night Dynamite apart from wrecking the body clocks of everybody who watches it not in America and probably a few people who watched it in America as well? Well, the point of it was, and I'm not annoyed, the point of it was to get viewers, you know, running over from the NBA game beforehand. We had the Lakers and the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. And I don't know if anyone stuck around or not to watch the wrestling, but I guess we'll find out in due course. But the ratings, of course, aren't the only important thing. We have to talk about how good the show was as well. So, without any further ado, let's take a look at the only way of determining that, and that is by assigning each individual segment, well, like a few segments, a lovely individual grade. It's time for a condensed version of AEW Dynamite Graded. Very wisely, the first thing that happens on the show is that Chris Jericho's music plays and he comes out and joins commentary, and immediately, if anyone had just left the TV on after watching the Lakers and the Nuggets, they'll have gone, is that Chris Jericho from 2000? Jericho joins the announce team, and with a little bit of back and forth, we're straight into our opening match. And it's Scorpio Sky taking on Ben Carter, a 22-year-old Brit who is apparently very promising and has appeared on Dark recently, so let's see how he gets on. Although he's from the Channel Islands, so he's basically French, really. Now, it's immediately very, very obvious that Ben Carter is quick and agile and incredibly nimble, and this throws Scorpio Sky slightly. He has to roll out of the ring to take a bit of a breather, to collect himself. He has to grind down his opponent. He has to take things to the mat and use his power quite a lot of the time, just straight up decking Ben Carter in the face to gain an advantage. Sky is playing the role that often other people play against him, being the bigger, stronger, and more experienced competitor. And after a little while of grinding Carter down, Sky starts to take some pretty big moves from his younger opponent. Carter's influences become quite clear here. He hits a nice springboard into like a reverse sort of DDT kind of thing, an inverted neckbreaker type. It's like the AJ Styles thing. You know when AJ springs off the top rope, backflips into like a reverse neckbreaker? It's kind of that sort of thing. A little bit later on as well, he heads to the outside, goes up the ring post and moonsaults off like bloody Kota Ibushi, but Scorpio Sky sidesteps that and just drops in with a big kick. So Carter does the only thing that he can do and kicks it up into an even higher gear. Massive dive to the outside. A few seconds later, he's back on the inside hitting a big frog splash. It's a 2 count. What's going on? He's all over the place. Carter then gets a roll up for a near fall before Scorpio Sky hits a big boot and the TKO and picks up, finally, a slightly more difficult victory than he might have imagined. I'm going to give this match a B+ grade. It was a big, pressure-filled spot for Ben Carter to fill, but he made the most of it, with a lot of help from the veteran Scorpio Sky as well. It was an exciting contest to open the show, and if anybody had just tuned in, I guess putting your nimble, flashy, agile guy on first is one way to capture people's attention. Also, it gets Ben Carter over as a star of the future in AEW, especially with Sky putting him over after the match by shaking hands with him, not putting him over. Sky still won the match, very much so. I mean, yeah, I think B+ is a fair grade. The big drawback, keeping this from an A- or even an A grade, I think was the length of it and the structure. There was a big old commercial break in the middle, the pace slowed right down, and then they had to get it back towards the end. I think this may have worked better as maybe like a 6 to 8 minute sprint rather than the 15-minute match that we got. But no major complaints here. I still enjoyed it. Next up, we get Brandi Rhodes versus Anna Jay on the back of that angle, of course, where Anna Jay choked out Brandi Rhodes in the aftermath of Brody Lee's defeat and beatdown of Cody. So Brandi is, of course, furious. She strides straight out there and just wants to throw hands immediately before the bell has even been sounded to start the match. They do trade right hands for a little while. The referee's like, stop it, ring the bell now, and Brandi just immediately spears Anna Jay. And I'm thinking, whoa, is this going to be a flash win for Brandi? But Anna Jay rolls to the apron, but Brandi just follows her straight out and drops her with a facebuster on the apron. I'm like, whoa, Brandi Rhodes came to play. I say that a lot in these videos, and it's only applicable to The Miz. So Anna Jay spends the opening portion of this match just getting absolutely dominated by Brandi Rhodes. However, Anna does work her way back into things by catching Brandi in that sleeper hold that she rendered her unconscious with. But Brandi has done her homework. That's because she kind of sits forwards and rolls Anna Jay over the top of her for a near fall. And I'm liking the historical importance of their clashes before this match. We know, right? We know that Brandi isn't the sharpest worker around, but I'm enjoying her conveying of a story here. It's pretty effective. Anna Jay then starts to grind Brandi down, she starts to dominate the match, she gets some heat from the crowd, she's doing all of the heelish things pretty well, but Brandi fires up, and just when it looks like she's about to take control and win the match and get revenge on Anna Jay, here comes Evil Uno and Stu Grayson for the distraction. But it's not as straightforward as it might sound. Stu Grayson is absolutely 100% trying to distract the referee as Brandi nails Anna Jay with a pump kick in the middle of the ring, and Anna Jay is just out for the potential 3 count, but Stu has the ref distracted. But Evil Uno is kind of trying to pull Stu back and say, like, no, let's not get involved, let's just go to the back. In doing so, Evil Uno is, of course, providing an even bigger distraction, which eventually leads to the referee only getting a 2 count, but at the same time, it's a weird one. It's a strange bit of subtle character development that we've been seeing recently from Evil Uno. Why is he acting like a babyface? But despite Evil Uno trying to stop the distraction, it did prove to be a distraction, and it did turn the match in the favour of Anna Jay. She locks in a sleeper hold not long after this and chokes out Brandi once again, and Anna Jay has won the match. This gets a B grade, and I was expecting it to be a little bit less than that, given that, you know, Brandi often doesn't have the strongest matches around if she's not matched up with somebody more experienced than her, but then Anna Jay is quite young still, so I was thinking this could be a bit of a disaster. Instead, they put on a very impressive performance, one that called back to their feud, one that sowed the seeds for things heading forwards with Evil Uno, for example. And yeah, I just generally enjoyed it as an overall presentation. Smart move getting Anna Jay the win as well. I think she needed that, and I don't think Brandi did, but obviously Brandi now has even further a motive for revenge. So B is the grade. Nice stuff. Backstage, my boy Alex Marvez is interviewing Scorpio Sky about his win, and Scorpio Sky does the right thing. He says, yeah man, I won the match, but Ben Carter is one hell of an athlete. They are then interrupted by Matt Sydal, who has the main event coming up. He's competing in that match, and Marvez says, now Sydal, you also had an impressive performance recently in the Casino Battle Royale. And Sydal's eyes just tell the story. He's like, why have you brought up that match of all my matches? Oh, it was awkward. I'm sure it was in the script because everything Marvez reads is so obviously scripted. However, I just couldn't help but escape the awkward feeling. If you didn't see it, Sydal made a huge botch in that Casino Battle Royale. However, Sydal rolls with it and says, yeah, I had a good performance in that match. Alex, I eliminated a couple of people, and then Sky jumps in, he's like, in fact, wasn't one of the guys you eliminated your opponent tonight, Shawn Spears? And Sydal's like, you're damn right it was, and after I beat Spears, me and you, Scorpio, we're gonna go out for some Iberios. He doesn't say it like that, he doesn't say it like that at all. What has come over me? Let's move on. So yes, we get the main event, Matt Sydal versus Shawn Spears. During Spears' entrance, accompanied of course by Tully Blanchard, Jericho kind of potentially spoils the finish, going, well, I'd be wary of that loaded glove that Shawn Spears is wearing. Oh, I mean, I'm not sure if it's loaded or not right now. And I'm like, oh, is the finish perhaps going to feature the loaded glove, Chris? In fairness, it's not that bad a mistake by Jericho, because Spears matches you'd expect would involve the glove at the finish. Even if he is going to win or lose, he's probably going to try and use it at some point. And during the opening exchange, Jericho again stands out on commentary, this time bringing up a pay-per-view match he lost to Sydal 10 years ago. Well, he doesn't specify 10 years ago, but I hopped on the old internet and found out that it was from Fatal 4-Way 2010. Do what you gotta do to get the guys in the ring over, Jericho, even if it's bringing up a defeat a decade ago. Needless to say, by the way, this is a much better effort from Sydal than that Casino Battle Royale spot. I mean, he's nailing Hurricane Ranas from a standing position and from the turnbuckles. He's hitting big strikes, he's jumping and kneeing Spears in the face, he's mixing it up with Spears technically, even though Spears is the more technically minded you'd expect of the two. It's all going really, really smoothly. Spears looks good too, reversing a second Hurricane Rana attempt from Sydal by just grabbing the feet, which I like, and throwing him off and then turning it into a big sit-out powerbomb and then nailing an Ushigoroshi. Spears thinks this lad thinks he's Hiroki Goto. Sydal then avoids the Death Valley Driver attempt, or the C4 as Spears calls it. Instead he heads up top to hit a Meteora, but before Sydal does head up top, he wipes the ropes first, which is just, he wants some points on Wrestlers of the Week, this lad, he really does, and he's maybe gonna get some. Sydal gets a 2 count off that Meteora once it connects and then wipes out Spears on the outside with a big drop kick over the back of a chair. But this allows Tully Blanchard to help out Spears behind the ref's back, loading that glove, which may or may not have been loaded according to Jericho, but now certainly is. Back in the ring, Sydal goes for the shooting star press. Spears rolls out the way, Sydal lands on his feet and has to roll through. Spears goes for the Death Valley Driver, Sydal slips out of that. Big left hand with the loaded glove. Sydal is out cold. And Spears hits the Death Valley Driver for the win. And that pretty much is the end of the show. First of all, we get Scorpio Sky rushing in to save the day because it looked like Spears was going to do a bit of a beatdown on Sydal, but then Sky was there to chase Spears and Tully away. And he kind of lifts Sydal's hand in the middle of the ring. And that's pretty much the end of what felt like a very brief hour. This match gets a B+ grade as well as the opener. The opener was... Alright, technically this match was better than the opener, but I've given it the same grade because of what the opener achieved. It got a new face over to a wider audience, and I just feel like generally it was more eye-catching at the start of the show. But this match also stands up on merit of just being a match between two experienced pros who could probably sleepwalk into a good match with each other, and that's pretty much what you got from Sydal and Spears here. They knew each other's game inside out, or at least appeared to, and put together a really nicely constructed match. Nothing mind-blowing, but definitely worth a B+ grade. I almost gave it an A-, but I feel like B+ was probably the fair result. But both guys obviously could have done a lot better and put on a lot more epic match had they been given a bit more time. So overall, this first edition of Dynamite this week, I should say, gets a B+ grade. One match got a B+, one got a B, and one got a B+. So, what more do you want from these little summaries, guys? So that's it for this weird late night edition of AEW Dynamite from last night. Thank you very much for watching Graded. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. Leave your thoughts and opinions on this show in the comments section down below. Stay safe out there, stay positive. I'll see you tomorrow for Graded, the proper one, and I'll see you soon.